Hello, dear viewers. I extend once again a very hearty welcome to you. We had been discussing the topic on salt analysis, and in previous episodes and previous lectures, I discussed with you what is salt, general introduction, and then we chose acid radicals first for their conformation. And in the process of conformation, first of all, we do preliminary tests, identification tests. So in that context, we performed and we discussed dilute H₂SO₄ test as a distinctive test, indicative test, and then we did the confirmatory test of the radicals which were detected with dilute H₂SO₄. Then we performed another test that is known as KMnO₄ test, which basically gives us some indication about the acid radicals and some basic radicals also. Then we did KMnO₄ test, and after that we now proceed on to Concentrated H₂SO₄ as a Concentrated H₂SO₄ test as a distinctive test, and in that case we have already discussed the preliminary test that is Concentrated H₂SO₄ as indicative or preliminary test. Now today we will be discussing the confirmation of acid radicals. Well, in the previous lecture, when we were doing the indicative tests, I shared with you that being a very preliminary stage of information, we are not considering the radicals like tartrate and then chromate, arsenite, arsenate, etc. For discussion. So now confirmation also will be limiting ourselves to the confirmation of chloride, bromide, iodide, nitrate, acetate and oxalate. Now again, I would like to remind you that these confirmatory tests are known as wet tests. For performing wet tests, we have to have the solution of the acid radical, and we have already discussed that we take three types of solutions. If salt mixture is water soluble, it is a water solution. If a portion of it is soluble in water, then it is treated as water extract, and if some portion of the salt mixture is insoluble, then we prepare sodium carbonate extract or soda extract. So we will be making use of these solutions of the salt as and when or wherever it is applicable. So first of all, we start with the confirmation of chloride. You know, indication of chloride is obtained with the Concentrated H₂SO₄ test, in which the HCl vapors evolve and which are indicated or which are whose presence is confirmed with the ammonia test. So we have got the indication of chloride, and now we are to confirm. For confirmation, the first test which we use is that is silver nitrate test. AgNO3 test. So in this test, what we do is that we take the salt solution, maybe salt solution in water or sodium carbonate extract, and acidify it with a few drops of dilute HNO3. We heat it so as to decompose the undecomposed carbonates and sodium carbonate, extra sodium carbonate present, and to that solution we add a few drops of silver nitrate solution in water. If chloride is present, then we get a curdy white precipitate which is soluble in ammonium hydroxide. So how it happens? Suppose we have got sodium chloride, and in this sodium chloride it is present either in salt solution or SC. Then after acidifying it with HNO3, then we add silver nitrate solution into it, and we get the formation of AgCl plus NaNO3, and this AgCl is a curdy white precipitate. Kurdy white precipitate, and this precipitate is soluble in ammonium hydroxide. How? AgCl plus, we have got ammonium hydroxide. We get the formation of a complex. We take 2 molecules of this, we get the formation of AgNH3 twice, and of course this, and then we got this. So this complex is formed, plus of course we get 2 waters, and this is water soluble. This is known as diamine silver 1 chloride. This is a complex compound, and this complex is water soluble. So hence that white precipitate gets dissolved in ammonia hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, or ammonia. Now second test in this series is chromyl chloride test. Chromyl chloride test. Now this test needs precision and attention of the performer, maybe student or maybe teachers. Sometimes happens that this test is not properly performed and we don't get the desired results. So in this case, what happens? We mix the salt mixture, say about 1 or 2 grams, with same amount of potassium dichromate powder, and then we add say half a milliliter of concentrated H₂SO₄, and we heat it strongly. During this process we get a reddish brown gas which is known as chromyl chloride gas. Then that chromyl chloride gas is passed through either ammonium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. Usually we pass it through sodium hydroxide, which turns that sodium hydroxide solution, which is colorless solution, to pale yellow. And that pale yellow solution then acidified with acetic acid, and then we add a few drops of lead acetate to it, and we get the formation of yellow precipitate of lead chromate. So how it happens? Let us say we have got say magnesium chloride. Then magnesium chloride, when treated with H₂SO₄, will give you magnesium sulfate plus 2HCl. Now this potassium dichromate is heated with H₂SO₄, that will give us, say, K2SO4 plus CrO3 plus water. So we get 2 molecules of this. So this is chromium oxide. Then this CrO3 is then treated with HCl to give us CrO2 Cl2, plus of course we get the formation of water. Now this chromyl chloride vapor, these are the chromyl chloride vapors. Reddish vapors. Then these reddish vapors are passed through sodium hydroxide, then CrO2 Cl2 plus 4NaOH, that will give you Na2CrO4 plus, of course, we get 2NaCl. Then what else? Then you have got 2 CrO2 Cl2. then of course we get water also. Now this sodium chromate then acidified with acetic acid, and we add lead acetate to it. So this is pale yellow solution. Now when we add lead acetate to it, we get the formation of lead chromate plus of course CH3COONA, and this lead chromate is yellow precipitate. This is yellow precipitate. So in this way there is another test, manganese dioxide test also, but we generally perform these tests. Then we come over to the next halide ion, that is bromide. Now indication for bromide is obtained in Concentrated H₂SO₄ test as preliminary test. We get light reddish brown gas of mixture of HBr and bromine, and then of course that turns starch paper, moist starch paper yellow. And the confirmatory tests are, one test is common, that is silver nitrate test is common to all the three halides, that is chloride, bromide, iodide. There is a slight difference. So first test in this case is again AgNO3 test. Same procedure. We take say a milliliter of salt solution, maybe salt solution soda extract, then we acidify with dilute HNO3. We heat strongly to decompose the undecomposed carbonates, and followed by the addition of silver nitrate. Now in case of bromide, we get the formation of pale yellow precipitate, and as a difference from chloride, this pale yellow precipitate is sparingly soluble, that is partly soluble in ammonium hydroxide, whereas in case of chloride, the curdy white precipitate was completely soluble. So let us say, suppose we have got sodium bromide, this is salt solution, we add silver nitrate to it, we get the formation of AgBr plus NaNO3, and this AgBr is a pale yellow precipitate which is partly soluble in ammonium hydroxide. And second test for this is CS2 test, carbon disulfide test, or we call CCl4 test. What this test is? We take salt solution. To the salt solution, we add carbon disulfide solution, CS2 solution, or maybe CCl4 also we can add, and followed by the addition of chlorine water. If chlorine water is available, then it's good enough. If it is not available, then we add a mixture of KMNO4 plus concentrated Cl. We add a few drops of that solution, and then that also becomes a chlorine water, and that is added to the test tube. Then we shake the test tube so as to mix both the solutions. Why are saying both the solutions? Because CS2 being organic liquid, it is not miscible with the water solution. So when we mix the two, and after shaking say for half a minute, then when we leave it, then if we get a yellow color in the organic layer, which is lower layer, then that confirms the presence of bromine. So how it happens? You see, we have got, say, sodium bromide, then we add chlorine water to it. You see, chlorine is a stronger halogen than bromine, or in this case I'll say chlorine is a stronger oxidizing agent than bromine. So what will happen? This will oxidize this bromide into bromine, and itself will get reduced into chloride. So we get the formation of NaCl plus we will be getting the liberation of bromine. Now when this bromine dissolves in CS2, then this gives orange yellow organic layer. That is, in the CS2 layer or organic layer, we get the orange yellow color due to the dissolution of bromine into that. So this was bromide. Interestingly, iodide also has both these tests, that is silver nitrate test and CS2 test. Iodide, this. So first is CS2, first is AgNO3 test. Again the same test, that is to the salt solution. We add a few drops of dilute HNO3, we boil it, decompose the undecomposed carbonates, and then we add silver nitrate. Then we get the formation of, if we get the formation of yellow precipitate, this indicates the presence of iodide, and this yellow precipitate will not be soluble in ammonium hydroxide. So suppose we have got sodium iodide, this is salt solution. We add AgNO3, we get the formation of AgI. It is a yellow precipitate, plus of course we have got this NaNO3. So yellow precipitate completely insoluble in ammonium hydroxide. And second again is CS2 test. Same procedure. To the salt solution, we add about a milliliter of CS2 followed by a few drops of chlorine water, and we shake the solution. If we get violet color in the organic layer, it indicates the presence of iodide. So again the same thing, we have got, say, sodium iodide, chlorine water, same thing, chlorine will oxidize iodide into iodine and itself will get reduced into chloride. So we get the formation of 2NaCl plus iodine is liberated. This liberated iodine, when dissolves in CS2, gives violet color in CS2 layer. So in this way we can confirm the three halides, that is chloride, bromide and iodide. So dear students, today we discussed the confirmatory tests of chloride, bromide and iodide. I think we should limit our discussion for today's lecture up to this only, because what they say is that it is always better to have the comprehensive understanding of the topic, and if the topic becomes a little longer, then it is difficult to grasp that. So in the next lecture when we meet, we will be discussing the remaining tests, that is test of nitrate, acetate and oxalate. So आज के लिए इतना ही. Thank you very much.